Located on 225 acres in Garden City, Long Island, Nassau Community College, a member of the State University of New York system, has close to 20,000 students attend the school each year. The college mascot is Leo the Lion, and these are his stories of the school's absolute best and brightest who have graduated over the past 50 plus years. So let's catch up together as the Alumni Association of Nassau Community College proudly presents Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Lion Tales. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I am a director on the board of the Alumni Association at Nassau Community College and a proud graduate. I am here to celebrate the successes of our alum, and together we will share stories that will uplift, inspire, and often amuse you. Each week, I will introduce you to the alumni of Nassau Community College interested in sharing their experiences while attending the college and the secrets to their success. Look for many new and exciting events on the Alumni Association social media pages and share any exciting news with us on Facebook, Instagram, or on our webpage at ncc.edu/alumni. Or find me on Twitter at Dr. Lynnda Nadien. Did you know Leo the Lion is the mascot for Nassau Community College? Lions are ruled by Leo and fire. The male lions represent pride while the female stands for teamwork. Together, we are Lion Tales. Today, I would like to welcome to Lion Tales Emeli Galvez, class of 2016. Emeli has a bachelor's in Hispanic Languages and Linguistics from Stony Brook University. Her interests include poetry, running, improv theater, and believes that Nassau Community College was the launching pad for her career. And currently, she is developing a public speaking business called Spunky Speakers, where people are encouraged to develop speaking skills to express themselves, thus seeking and reveling in their own brilliance. Welcome to Lion Tales, Emeli Galvez, class of 2016.
All right. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, great for you to be here today. So let's talk a little bit about the experiences of coming back onto campus after a while of not being here. What was that like?
Okay, so let's go back to 2016. I graduated in May with a liberal arts associate's degree. It was the best semester I've had at Nassau. I had connected with Dr. Silvina Trica Flores, who's one of the best professors, probably the best professor I've ever had. And I never really lost touch with her over the years. And it wasn't until last spring, 2022, that they had a job opening in the World Language Department, and it would be in the Spanish department, which is what I studied. And I thought immediately, I knew exactly who I was going to connect with. And ironically, she wrote me, not really ironically, but she did write me a wonderful recommendation letter to bring to our coordinator, Vladimir. And within 3 or 4 months, I got a call right back. And by September, I was fresh back at Nassau. And wow, honestly, it takes me back.
Yeah. Now, you're working as you're working on campus. You are a Spanish tutor, but also as far as linguistics, how did that become something that you were interested in studying?
So linguistics was more of like I had to study Hispanic languages, but I also had to study the breakdown of any particular language, syntax, semantics, phonetics. How does Russian get broken down? How does Chinese get broken down? What can you predict in languages? So that's essentially the linguistics background. It's very technical. It's really a science in itself.
Right, yeah.
I am more of a let's talk, let's communicate, let's have a conversation in the language, the target language. Spanish is just one of those languages that I feel right at home with.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I love the culture. I love the many countries that unite us. I had that with Professor Flores. She never really gave up on me in general. She really was, she's one of those professors that she comes into the room and it's a party.
Yeah.
But also we have to go to work. You understand? Right. So it's, let's go to work, but here I am, 5'2", blonde hair, green eyes, and let's go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's intimidating. It definitely was intimidating when I was 21 and I had her. But once you get to know her, she really she cares. I mean, she really, really cares.
Yeah, and going back to, the support that you get at that level when you're, coming to a community college because, everyone's a little bit intimidated. You don't know how the professors will react to you, and you really want to kind of build that relationship with them. And it seems like you were able to do that. And then you spoke about, because of that, it kind of gave you your edge. So when you say that, how do you feel that gave you the edge?
It gave me the confidence because when I've always been curious. I think we spoke about this before. Curiosity has always been my friend, and I've always been curious about professors in general, even from my first semester at NASA to my last semester at NASA. But having her at during my last semester, it was something else that I was just ready to take on the world and go to Stony Brook and just really own it. But let me tell you something, Nassau Community College surpasses Stony Brook. Okay, I know. Let me clarify.
You can say that on the air.
Stony Brook is a wonderful 4-year school. There's so many opportunities there. I loved it, but nothing like Nassau Community College. The way we have a community here, I did not feel that at Stony Brook. Partly because I was a commuter, but still I felt more at home at Nassau. I connected with public safety. I made friends at the library. I was just so into Nassau. I was driven more so than I was at Stony Brook, and that made a big difference. And now that I'm back here, it takes me back. It's almost like the universe had opened up a portal and you're going back in time, but it's 7 years later or 6 years later and you're back, but it's like nothing's changed. It's like magic. You go back to that magical place or that magical spot.
Yeah, there's a feeling of, coming onto the campus, and every time I do, I just feel this, there's some feeling that I get that I knew that I guess I belonged here, that it was something that makes me feel that way. And it seems that when you're speaking about the edge, that maybe that's really what we all have.
Yeah.
We just had a gala for to highlight alumni that have done, different service to the community. And, even feeling that vibe, you could tell that each one of them, although they did different jobs or different service, to the community, they all had that same, vibe coming through here. So talking about the courses now, what were some of the favorite courses that you had?
All right. So the first one that really came to my mind, I'm going back 2014, hopefully. It was human sexuality. I forgot what the professor... I forgot her name. She was an older woman. And
I had that too with Dr. Hiddleman. I think he may have passed. That was a while ago. But that was like that's the controversial class.
I've had a great time. Listen, I think everybody should explore their sexual organs and know about the biology and protection and all that stuff. I think it is a wonderful awareness that a lot of us are, that's weird. But it's actually, hey, let's stop talking about it in a form of taboo, but rather let's express that this is what the human body does and it elicits many things. And if you're not careful, not so good things can come out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that class was really sort of like instrumental in allowing people to speak about certain things that allegedly were taboo. And, I'm going back like quite a while ago, so for people to be able to speak about that. Now, I think we talk about a lot of things, but not really about that. I think it's kind of like people still, there's such a misunderstanding, I think, about human sexuality. And I just think overall, bodies, people are just they're unsure. But so during that class, again, when there's public speaking involved, you're allowed to kind of express that. How were you able to express yourself in that particular course?
That was curiosity, again, getting the best of me, but just exploring your body and being in tune with yourself. I think it's not just, oh my God, let's have intercourse, but yes, I understand. But if you don't feel that connection with yourself, it's not as pleasant as it could be, or if you're not aware of the consequences, or if just being able to have courage to speak about something that's extremely vulnerable, but at the same time, I believe, is as natural as to breathing.
Yeah, and I remember that class had, quite a number of students in there. There was probably like maybe 22 students. So it wasn't like it wasn't as intimate like when it's like 10 or 12. But when there's 22 people, you have like a full group, and everybody was really trying to kind of, understand what was being said to them and try to do it with, I guess, not feeling intimidated or embarrassed about it, but actually saying, wait a minute, this does make sense to me now. And so when you are talking to people and you find them to be reluctant in their speaking, how do you kind of help them find their voice?
I definitely allow them to just take a breather. Many people have come up to me and said, "You're so easy to talk to," and I'm trying not to boast either. I want to make people feel comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breaking the ice. I like to throw in a punchline here and there, some self-deprecating humor. Right. It helps break the ice. So what I do is I try to show up as myself 99.9% of the time, as much as I possibly can. And what that does is it allows people, it gives them permission. Oh, she's being silly and weird in public. Oh, that's just weird. Either they're weird about it or they're, oh, wow, I'm interested, I'm curious. And wow, if she's doing it, then I can do it. So they start trusting. Right. And yeah. I think that's a wonderful gift to give somebody.
Yes.
Because
to make them have that comfort level.
Get comfortable.
To speak to you. Mm-hmm. And just to sort of have, there's an accountability too that people want to feel valued, and they might not speak if they don't feel the value. You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Emeli Galvez, class of 2016. So we're speaking about a lot of the courses that you were taking. Did you find them easy, or were they challenging, even though you're a native speaker?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely took Intro to French with Pierre Derush, who is now my work colleague. And he is definitely a passionate individual who cares deeply. I mean, this man cares deeply about the French language. He is precise in his deliverance. And I was 20 when I had him, and I took French 101. It was challenging because I loved the fact that Pierre was dedicated. You can tell he's passionate about the French language, but it was also intimidating because when you're called upon, it was, what? I didn't hear that. Excuse me? How do you say that again? Just that performance, you would feel a little intimidated. But as you progressed in class, you can overcome the hurdles and you smooth out the crevices. He was definitely a professor that cares, and he still does. I still talk to him and, hey, you remember that time we had that conversation about French language and the French Revolution? Still dedicated. Nothing's really changed in the last 7 years. But I think as a student who had a professor like that who's very, I would say, demanding in the way that they care so much, I would say don't run away from that. Really, I think it's an opportunity to challenge yourself as a student, because college is not just one easy ride. It's, hey, there's bumps in the roads. How do you overcome them? And when you have a professor that challenges you, that is an opportunity for optimal growth. So you're not feeling intimidated when you go to your 4-year school or when you're going to get your master's degree. Mm-hmm. So you're not, oh, okay, I'm equipped. I'm ready for this. You'll meet different types of people. You'll have professors that are very old school and traditional and like to do things right by the systems. And then you'll have professors that are a little loose, but they have a good structure about them that makes them captivating, or they're just, oh, wow, I love that professor in engineering. Oh, I love that professor in grammar or whatever. So, Yeah,
what is the best approach as a Spanish tutor? Are you tutoring native language speakers in order for them to read and write, or are you tutoring English speakers who are learning Spanish?
English speakers that are learning Spanish, and even Hispanic natives that they have been exposed mostly to English, right? Their first language is English, and then they speak Spanish not so well at home, and it's just working out the nooks, the crannies, and loosening up, just knowing, because there's something so powerful about knowing what you're talking about, especially when it comes to language. And when you know more languages, you're exposing yourself and your brain to to know more and communicate. You can essentially possess. There's a phrase, I believe, the more languages you possess that you know, the more souls you have.
Oh.
So, yeah, there's somewhere in the third floor we have that. Oh, the more souls you have.
That could be true because, most famous, I guess historical figures spoke multiple languages, so you never know about that. So as far as the concept that you've come up with called Spunky Speakers, can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So public speaking is something I'm very passionate about. And most people would say, what's wrong with you, girl? I do not care. I just let it roll off of me. I think public speaking is one of the best skills that you could ever learn. Spunky Speakers was born, well, I'm still creating it with my friend David. We're trying to create a program where we have a solid foundation of giving a speech, a meaningful speech, speeches that people actually care about giving, whether that's through storytelling, whether that's through, hey, I need to stop using like, so, in my speeches and tweaking it. But also, we don't want to run away from taboo topics, religion, politics, things that people try to avoid. But I say we have to. We live in the United States and people have freedom of speech. Of course, give warning, because thought-provoking speeches are meant to make you think. They're not,
right.
And it's just easy to fall into, hey, this person's talking about yoga. That's great. That's wonderful. What about certain things about starvation and homelessness, right? Things that we kind of skim through. We like to target
anything that's sort of like a taboo subject. People are afraid. The hot topics, we're kind of afraid to go there, but at the same time, you're like thirsting for a dialogue about it.
Yeah, it's like you can't avoid it.
Yeah,
we want to take you there, but not penetrate you there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just walk you to that point where you feel comfortable enough to express yourself.
Yeah, I think we're so worried about offending. But then at the same time, if we don't have the conversations and we don't have the dialogue, we wouldn't even know if something was offensive or not because we never even had the opportunity to have the dialogue. So we really need to be able to talk about certain things, either in groups and in classrooms.
Right.
And I think we probably have to do it without maybe our opinions, but just based on research and facts, and then kind of make it like a think tank. What can we start thinking about?
Yeah, because if it becomes your opinion, then it just becomes one messy show.
Yeah. And that's something that I think we do have so much of now, where everybody is sort of, there's a division and people are arguing. But, we need to have the facts about a lot of things. And I think that, research and knowing history will help us as well. And so you're also interested in the telenovelas,
yeah,
and women's mentorship. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so telenovelas is my upbringing. That is definitely just growing up and watching men and women fall in love together. And it was great. And you get all this passion and drama that you see in Latin telenovelas, which kind of, for the most part, stereotype us into, hey, you're so dramatic. But it's just part of the culture. You just enjoy that growing up. And watching reruns now, I just think, my goodness, I'm so glad I live in the United States and not, I'm just so happy about that, because it's, you need to respond to the man, or the woman has to. And I said, that I can see that might have worked. And for some people, it still may work. But nowadays, it's girl power and hey, woman can.
Yeah, like now
do
there's
her
not,
own thing. Yeah,
yeah. Like I guess we're a little bit more liberated, but it has to be, again, kind of like moving, respecting culture and the norms, but then at the same time, kind of saying, all right, I still can express myself as a female.
Right.
So now, have you? You're trying to balance, work and play and study and all the things that you're doing, and now you're back at Nassau working here. What is your definition of how you can balance that whole lifestyle and then do these special projects like Spunky Speakers.
You're talking to the wrong person. No, I definitely believe that it's about knowing where you want to go and not just, hey, I'm going to wake up this morning and go to Starbucks and do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with that. Just, hey, I want to balance my life. Okay. I know I have to work really hard this weekend to work on my project. And if that requires me to say no to a couple of social outings, so be it. I think it's prioritizing what's important. Obviously, Nassau is an amazing place. Definitely making a lot of connections with my colleagues and my curiosity, taking me to the H building and going to the CCB building
and trying to find everything again.
So it's a reemergence of the past and colliding with the present, but it's not a bad thing. It's just, hey, I'm trying to make a change, and Spunky Speakers is a project that I cannot do alone. It's definitely a teamwork effort. So knowing where I want to go, Nassau is a great place to start. I love being here. I love just driving up here, getting here from the Meadowbrook. Yeah. And just know that you're back in a place that you found a part of yourself here, and then you develop from there.
You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Emeli Galvez, class of 2016. So one of the questions I wanted to ask about, being back on campus and, knowing again that there are a lot of hot topics that we need to discuss. But what is your definition of equity and inclusion, and how can we do a better job of including, dual language speakers, let's say migrants coming into the United States and kind of absorbing them into our culture? How do we become respectful of people's cultures and pride in their language and making sure that they continue to speak? Like, I have a lot of young students who are native Spanish, but then as they get older, 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade, they kind of like don't want to speak anymore. But it's so beautiful to have the luxury of the dual language. How could we maintain that?
I think, I don't remember what I was in college. I think it was in Stony Brook, and they said after a while, for example, if I have children here, I grew up speaking Spanish. If I do not teach my children to speak Spanish, they will never teach their children to teach Spanish. It's just a generational thing.
Yeah.
So my job is to preserve the language, whether it's Arabic or Hebrew or French or Spanish, Italian, whatever it may be, because there is this. I like the idea of a luxury, but it's more of like the more languages we know, the better off you'll become. But if you go to Europe and Switzerland, Germany, they speak 4 or 5 languages.
Yeah.
They mandate it, I mean, we're not living in Europe, but it's just wonderful to know that you can speak and communicate with probably 50, 60 countries alone, because 3, 4, 5 languages, Latin America, Mexico, Central America, that takes up a chunk of the population, right? And here in the United States, the demographics are quickly changing.
Right.
There's definitely Hispanics coming and migrants coming. We have that whole problem in the city. How do we do that? Well, understand that there's a lot of miscommunication and trying to bring, like you said, research, trying to get the facts together, because these are people at the end of the day. They don't know. They probably have misinformation, and they just want to have a better life. And I understand that can get iffy, and to begin to a whole topic about that.
Yeah.
But it's not something you have to swerve around. It's something you have to face eventually.
Yeah, there was something important that they brought up. I thought it was important. Most people, maybe they wouldn't even think about it, but the fact that they were giving families these like little box lunches, but that's not what they were used to eating. That's not the food that they would normally eat. So when they were getting this, they were sort of like, what is this? This is not what I would normally eat. And I thought that was so interesting because, again, coming to another part of the world, it's not the same. So we have to be prepared for all of that. And the way that we communicate is probably like our strongest base that we have in order to make people become successful when they do come here, because I just can't imagine like you just come and that's it. It's not like the end
structure,
of it.
Yeah.
Now, you also have a passion for improv. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I took improv classes in Freeport, I believe. It was Long Island Improv. Michael Rock, big shout out to you.
Yeah.
I'd love to promote as much as I can. I took improv classes, and boy, does that help with public speaking. That helps with acting. That helps you overall.
Yeah.
You feel confident. Now, people would tell me, you're very confident. You sound like you're flirting with that person. And it's not. It's just you feel comfortable in your skin. You're doing silly things you're not used to. Because a lot of the times we're in our minds just trying to say, hey, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say next? And improv throws your plans right out the window.
Right.
That's what it is. It strips you bare.
Yeah.
Literally, because you're not used to, what is my partner going to say? I have to trust what my partner's saying, so I have to deliver something.
Yeah.
That's what improv teaches you. It teaches you to be in the moment.
Yeah. And I guess it allows you to go to that like real vulnerable place, because you're on the stage a little bit, it may be like a little bit of a close proximity, but at the same time, once you get on stage, that, people are different. You know how a lot of performers are so incredibly shy, but they get up on the stage. Like you might see your kid get up on the stage and be like, oh my God, I never knew that he could sing or do that.
Yeah, no, you know what it is when the lights come on and the stage is yours, you become a whole different person. The cameras are on. Yeah. Oh my God. What am I going to say? What are my lines? And the camera's on. Showtime. You switch. It's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde effect.
Yeah.
Because you have practiced, you have worked on monologues, you have worked on so many things, and it prepares you to make a scene work. And you think, I've never seen this side of me, ever.
Absolutely. I would like to thank our guest, Emeli Galvez, class of 2016. How can our listeners contact you?
You can contact me through email, emily.galvez@ncc.edu. I'm not sure if I can give my phone number over the air, but you could always text, email. Email's probably safer.
And then you can answer an email. Thank you for being here today, Emeli Galvez.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you for being our guest today. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I serve as a director on the board of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association, and I am a proud alum. Lion Tales is available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. More information is online at nassaucommunitycollegeradio.org. Thanks for listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC.